the entire history of Rome. I know. You guys be thinking about Rome every single day, but I don't know. So let's check it out.
Before the Roman Empire, there was the Roman Republic.
Really?
And before that was the Roman Kingdom. And all of this actually didn't start in Rome. It started in Alba Longa, an ancient city about 25 kilometers away from
Yeah, that must have been a longer time ago.
nowadays Rome. There, in the year 771 before Christ, the king of Alba Longa, Numitor, is chilling on his balcony enjoying his Latin Empire when his
With his cheeks out like that? What was he doing? Like, what did they call it? Sun maxing?
younger brother Amulius suddenly pushes him into early retirement. At the same time, Amulius' followers also kill all of Numitor's suitable children to make sure he becomes the new rightful ruler.
Dude, this is like 90 Day Fiancé, but a little bit more violent.
Only Sylvia, Numitor's sole daughter, survives the balcony party. And to make sure she doesn't produce any new heirs, she gets assigned a fate worse than death.
What?
She was forced to become a Vestal Virgin.
What? How does that happen? Did she start playing League of Legends? That's pretty bad.
Priestess forbidden from having children. Well, haha, that solves that, Amulius thought to himself. But then, a miracle happened. Somehow, Sylvia gets pregnant.
How? How? Through the sun? Should I not go outside anymore?
Even though she was supposed to be a virgin. Now, don't get your hopes up, since it wasn't Jesus Christ just yet, folks. But it was Rome's original founders.
Oh, is this the Romulus and Remus? Right? I think I learned that from Alien.
Romulus and Remus.
Oh,
After
yeah!
a presumably very chaotic childbirth and a very awkward welcome baby gathering, it was time for the next family drama. How did you get pregnant while being a virgin?
I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think of how this could even happen. Zeus? Isn't that how that always goes?
I was literally raped by the god of war, Mars.
Oh.
The god of war? Mars?
I thought that was that guy from the game, the Sony. Dude, this has got to be a long story if Sony features it.
Yes. That is the worst excuse I've ever heard. It's not an excuse, it's literally the myth.
Oh my god. Dude, this guy messed it up. Look at his Stardew Valley build. He's not even, like, strawberry maxing. What is he doing?
What? But whether Amulius believed it or not, he now had a much bigger and cuter problem. With the newborn twin boys around, his claim for the throne started to become wobbly, as there was a legitimate heir now. Better Call Saul.
I love the brew edit of Better Call Saul, and I just see it in my head. I need to put him on my Tomodachi Island. We already have Walter.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do.
I love that show even more than Breaking Bad. It was so good.
And now the part I think everyone knows. Eventually the basket of the two babies crashes into the riverbank, and the twins roll into the cold, wet sand that is rough and gets everywhere.
Okay. Do you think kids would learn more if everything was presented like this in school?
Well, this is it, said Romulus to Remus in a very manly and sexy voice.
Oh!
Yes, brother, it was an honor sharing the same womb with you. And just when they think they are about to die, a female wolf jumps from the bushes and sucks the— Okay, this is straight up becoming a Bible story now. Virgins giving birth.
Ah, I said League of Legends too! Why is that the Virgin game?
Kings ordering to kill babies and the wolf feeding two twins? What's next? The Tower of Babylon? Well, chronically speaking, yes, but I get the hint. This all is a myth. It might or might not have happened. But it is crucial to the birth of Rome, which we are about to talk about actually, so why don't you shut your mouth, sit down and enjoy the free entertainment.
Don't they have like that very famous statue of them like straight up getting some milk up in their mouth?
Who are you even? Get out of here. Anyway, after being raised by the wolf for an unknown time, the boys grow older and stronger.
Wow, he benching at least 350.
Like, absurdly
Oh, actually, my bad. I meant tree fitty since they're in the woods. Yeah.
strong. Living on protein-rich wolf milk apparently turns you into ancient JoJo characters.
Not true, because there is a better source. There's a bread. There is a better source of protein. Cockroach milk. We watched this earlier.
So one day, while they're out flexing in the woods and doing whatever feral demigod teenagers do, a shepherd finds them, adopts the twins, and teaches them presumably how to speak, since they were literal furries till then, and the twins grow up into two tall, muscular troublemakers. One day, Romulus and Remus get into a fight with some thugs who work for, guess who, King Amulius. And during the brawl, the twins learn the truth. They are not random forest boys, they are the lost princess of Albalonga. The
Oh my god, this is like a D&D campaign!
rightful heirs that Amulius tried to river delete. So naturally, the boys decide to go on a bizarre adventure.
Oh shit.
They march straight back to Albalonga, gather the locals, shout something dramatic like, "Please become a member of the YouTube channel historically," and together with
Okay, I can subscribe. They told me to.
the people of the city, they overthrow Uncle Emilius and reinstate their grandpa Numitor, who apparently survived the fall? Grandpa gets reinstated as a king, and everyone's cheering, celebrating, throwing flowers, etc. Everyone except Romulus and Remus, because they started to like this whole army thing. So they decided to build a city together a couple kilometers over.
Oh, Civ campaign. Dude, I had like a huge Civ thing for like a month, but then every time it got to late game, I kept falling asleep, so I stopped playing.
Eventually, they find a great spot near the Tiber River. Beautiful scenery, 7 hills, perfect vantage points, a village with a blacksmith. All was going well. But then, because
Dude, they already got a diamond pick. Of course it's going well. They're stacked.
this is Roman legend, disaster strikes. They can't agree where to put the city.
Oh, okay. Near a river, maybe like some mountains, and you can build some more establishments. Make sure you got enough culture. Maybe look for some wonders of the world.
We should put the city on Palatine Hill. No, Aventine Hill. No, my location is better. No, mine's better. No, no. No, 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 no. And suddenly the founding of the Roman Empire became a sibling argument that could have been solved with, like, I don't know, a coin. But no,
Yeah, this is like left Twix versus right Twix.
this is ancient Italy, so instead they go, let's just ask the gods. They hold a contest.
I don't know if I want to ask them anything. They seem a little crazy.
Whoever sees more birds wins divine approval, because why not? Remus goes, I saw 6 birds. Romulus then responded, cool, I saw 12.
Okay, proof?
You cheated! The gods love me more, bro. They literally don't. Romulus decides to just start building a tiny wall. If his brother won't help him, he will just make this city himself. And Remus, being a certified older brother menace, decides to clown on him. Remus hops over the wall like it's nothing and goes, oh no, look.
If you have an older brother, what did they do? Did they just like punch you and push you around? That's the only thing I've ever learned about being an older brother.
Look, I'm in your super secure city, brother. What will you do? Arrest me? Haha, your city sucks. What, you gonna found an empire on my corpse? He did. And this is the start
I did not mean like that!
of Rome. Historically extra long facts, part 16. So Romulus is now king, right? But Rome at this point is basically a homeless camp. To attract people, Romulus calls it an asylum city. And not the medical kind, the everyone who's on the run from something, come on in kind. Which means suddenly Rome fills up with runaway slaves, debt dodgers, exiles, guys who stole goats, guys who are goats, criminals, and a couple lost tourists.
It's just
Romulus
everybody.
looks at his crowd and goes, perfect.
Do you think VTubers could move there?
A city. But there is a problem. A huge problem.
What? Hot, sweaty men? Do we got any of those in chat?
Rome has food, hills, walls, chaotic men, 1 king, but exactly 0 women to have children with.
Oh. Well, don't look at me.
This is an issue.
How do you get women to move to a town full of hot, sweaty men? I don't know. I don't even think science knows.
Oh, you think? Shut up. So, Rome hosts a big festival and invites their neighbors, the Sabines, and tell them, come celebrate, bring the whole family, there will be snacks.
Ooh, I'm hoping for Doritos.
Let's be honest, no one can ignore such a great housewarming party. So the Sabines show up, and everyone's vibing. But then, mid-party, Romulus gives the signal, and the Romans just kidnap all the Sabines.
What? Could we not think of anything else? Maybe charcuterie boards? Reality TV, anything at all?
Being women. Rome literally solved its gender imbalance with an 8th century BC Tinder kidnapping event. Papa Mars would be proud. The next morning, the Sabine men wake up with a hangover and are furious.
Nope, not Roman? Well, I mean, I guess it's not women.
They attack Rome, obviously, and we get the first official Roman war. Just, 3 years after the birth of the place. Bravo! The Sabine women walk out between the armies and yell, "Stop! We don't want our new husbands
Talk no jutsu. This isn't you!
killing our old families. Stop being stupid. Merge the kingdoms and continue your lives." And they do. Just like that, the Sabines and Romans became one people, which must have been awkward at the dinner table. From here, Rome cycles through 6 more kings. We still have over 1,000 years of Roman history to cover, so I'll just speedrun us through this.
Okay.
Timer, please. The first king is Romulus. He creates the Senate, did all the crazy stuff we just went over, then disappears one day in a storm. Romans say he ascended to heaven, though he probably just tripped and died.
Minecraft skeleton. Always gotta have a shield.
Romulus was followed by the second king, a Sabine king who creates the Roman religion, builds temples, actually does not fight anyone for a while, and dies peacefully. The third king was basically the opposite of his predecessor, and decided religion is cringe and fighting is so much cooler.
Dude, I know I just keep bringing up Civ, but like, damn, it literally is just a game of Civ. Like, what's the best way to win?
So he attacks and destroys Alba Longa, followed by absorbing their population. He dies because he angered a god, supposedly. So the fourth king, a half Sabine, half Roman person, takes power, brings back religion, yet expands Rome forcefully. He also starts paving the way for his followers by building prisons, ports, and bridges.
Dude, they had everything.
Next king kept
That was literally just Texas.
the spirit going and constructed the massive sewer system we still applaud Rome for to this day, and becomes insanely powerful, so he gets assassinated by his political opponents.
Dude, you can never... you can never be up. Like, somebody is gonna take you down.
And so did his successor, who was abusing his power left and right. Though he did build a wall, but it didn't stop the Mexicans. Finally, the seventh...
Okay. That was random.
king, who was so incredibly sinister and cruel that he was expelled from the city by the people of Rome. And just to prevent any more idiotic kings from taking over, the Roman people turned the place from a kingdom to a republic. And with that, we enter the era of the Roman Republic. Yes.
509 BC. That does not mean BerryCrepe. I am not that old. Don't even get started.
Still not empire, which in theory means no more kings. Ever. We are done. We have learned our lesson. So instead of one king, they elect 2 consuls who have the power of a king, but definitely aren't kings. They rule at the same time and
do they kiss?
Can veto each other to quote-unquote keep each other in balance. They also switch out each year. I'm sure that will go well. Let's
Sometimes they have to, right? Like, weren't they kissing back in the day?
see how well oh my god, it's all burning down. Ever wondered how Rome became so militaristic? It wasn't just because their first king's daddy was the god of war. It's actually because of what's happening right here in front of us. Rome wasn't the only city that liked to plunder and kill, because the French in the ancient Gaul region wanted to do it
The French are real? They already existed?
before them, and the Romans lost to them. And not just a bit. The Gauls enter Rome, loot it, burn most of it, sit around like it's a camping trip, and
They had a lot of gall. Stupid.
leave only after the Romans paid them a ransom in gold. This event might as well be Rome's original story of their villain arc. Never again can we be this humiliated, said the Romans to each other. So they turn ultra militaristic. Anything that isn't nailed to the ground is about to get conquered. And oh god, were they good at it. They started with their Latin neighbors, then some hill tribes, then Greek colonies.
Dude, they didn't even have planes. They must have had to been walking forever.
Then more tribes, then even more tribes. Basically, if you lived near early Rome, you were about to receive a very polite invitation to join the Republic or be flattened by
Polite.
it. But the real challenge comes from across the water in the south, Carthage. They have a massive navy, way too much money, a beautiful city, and elephants.
Dude, I hate when this shit happens. Like, how did you have the battle pass? Like, we don't got boats.
You know, the kind of neighbor Rome absolutely can't tolerate. So the two republics start fighting in what historians very casually call the Punic Wars.
Oh, this is what you guys wanted me to watch. I get it. I didn't know what this was.
Which is basically a trilogy movie about chaos. In the first movie, Rome goes, you know what, we want that island. Carthage responds by saying that you don't even have a navy to stop us.
You don't want any islands. Let me just, let me just make sure you're not even on the radar for that. It's not worth it, man.
And Rome responds by building a navy by stealing the design of the Carthaginian ships.
What? Google Docky. How dare you? In the VTuber community, that's the worst thing you can do.
And win anyway. 1-0 for Rome. Then the second war starts. And this is the big one. Hannibal appears. This man shows up with 50,000 troops, 37 elephants, and the determination
And a partridge in a pear tree? Oh my god, their inventory is insane.
of many years of deep-rooted racism. He gathers in Spain.
Oh, and he's racist? This happens a lot in these history videos and in Skyrim.
Marches his army over the Alps, which is insane even today, and absolutely wrecks Rome for years.
Wow.
Rome eventually wins because
I've been getting really into basketball. Dude, I actually like it because now it's the playoffs and people are actually playing the game. And I didn't understand that before. Like, I just thought everybody just kind of played, but like now people are really playing and they want to win.
they are Rome, but yeah. Hannibal made them sweat. That's 2-0 for
Wow.
Rome. Then the third war is basically Rome saying, Carthage still exists, and that bothers us. So they delete the whole city from the timeline. Boom, gone. Survivals of the fittest or whatever. And
Dude, I'm so glad I do not live back then. Like, you probably died at like 13. There is nothing you can do except, I guess, kiss somebody and then die.
just for good measures, so they won't fight again, they enslave the whole city.
Or
and
that
so,
too.
with their only real rival out of the way,
Nah. Why are you doing lines of milk? I'm lactose. That would suck.
Rome gets addicted to expansion.
Or I guess that would blow. While I'm doing blow. And then I blow it out the other end. You see what I'm trying to say.
Like the British got to opium. They conquer
What?
Spain, North Africa, Greece, Turkey, and of course, the Gaul region. Instead of going to therapy about what happened to them before, Rome literally conquered 10% of humanity, enslaved another 2%, and destroyed entire civilizations just to make sure they were strong enough to have revenge against the Gauls for what they did 300
Wow. That is a huge grudge. That long?
30 years before. And the man who gets to deal the final blow to these Frenchies is Julius Caesar.
Oh, I know that guy. He's got a great salad.
Caesar is basically the final boss of the Roman Republic. He marches into Gaul with a relatively small army and proceeds to absolutely dismantle the place. And by dismantle, I mean defeat tribe after tribe, conquer all of France.
Of course he won. Look at how big he is. He walking around like Eden Yeager.
Dip into Belgium, flirt with Germany, and then casually invade Britain just to see what they taste like. He comes back to Rome so powerful that the Senate becomes afraid of him. So they order him to come to Rome alone and to leave his army behind. He naturally refuses and starts marching to the capital
He
anyway. The
does.
Senate panics and flee as Caesar enters the city with little to no resistance. But that doesn't mean Rome was his just yet. He still had to defeat the disputed leader and his allies before he can legally become, I don't know, the first dictator Rome has seen in 500 years? He fights all across the continent. Boinks Cleopatra on the way because why not?
Guys, I have a very interesting search history for my FBI agent. I I just wanted to know if it was true because I saw on TikTok that they said that she bathed in baby batter. And apparently, it's debated.
And after 4 years, finally gains control of the Republic. Half the Senate likes him, the other half wants to kill him by stabbing him 23 times. But is that hate justified?
Caesar!
Well, kind
Masturbated? Yeah, it is masturbated.
of. But also absolutely not. Caesar wasn't a straight up evil guy most people portray him as today. He was actually doing a lot of stuff that regular Romans loved.
He likes Pinterest?
He fixed the chaotic calendars.
No, he didn't! Well, I mean, he technically did, but when I was learning Japanese, I know cringe. Their months are literally like month 1, month 2, month 3. And how come somebody says, what month is July? And I gotta go, January, February, March, and April, May, and June. I gotta count on my hands.
So months actually made sense.
Yeah, and October is 10? Yeah.
And it's why we now have 365 days. July is literally named after him, so you're welcome. He lowered...
What would Berry I? Don't even, I'm not rhymed.
taxes, cancelled debts, expanded citizenship, rebuilt half the city, gave lands to veterans of war, regulated grain supply so poor
Wow.
people didn't starve, and
Wow.
tried to keep the army under control so rogue generals wouldn't create another civil war. But, and this is the but, the Senate couldn't
Agario?
ignore. Caesar was also absorbing every political office he possibly could. A dictator,
February. That's true and real. I like February.
Caesar was also absorbing every political office he possibly could. A dictator? Yep. Consul? Sure. Pontifex Maximus, aka the head priest? Why not? Basically, the man was
He's
collecting
doing
powers
everything.
like they were Pokemon cards. And the Senate, who spent 500 years being paranoid about kings, looked at this and went, oh god, he's
Oh, this is when they... Every time I try to make like a horror sound, you guys just say I sound like Michael Jackson.
becoming a king. So they decide to save the Republic by doing the most Republic-destroying thing possible. They murder him in the middle of a Senate meeting. And this might have been the dumbest thing they could have possibly done. Because, tiny problem, everyone liked Caesar except
Oh, they're gonna get mad. They're gonna people riot.
the senators. The liberators walk out of the Senate like, we did it guys, we saved the Republic. While the Roman people are more like, you killed the guy who lowered our taxes and gave us free grain? Let's just hope this somehow doesn't escalate.
Uh-oh.
Look how they massacred my boy. This is Mark Antony. Caesar
What? Wait, he's real? I thought I don't know, he has like a basketball player name. I didn't know he was like a history person.
Thor's bestie, who is apparently really upset that his friend is dead. But don't let it fool you. In reality, he really just enjoys power and is about to usurp that power all to himself.
So you're telling me he lied for his own benefit? Oh my god! What?
Not on my watch, says Octavius, the adopted 18-year-old
October!
grandnephew of Caesar. Octavius might look like an adorable baby boy, but in reality, he is a cunning war criminal. Mark
Oh.
Antony, Octavius, and some random other guy that doesn't matter become the new united leaders of Rome. But in reality, it's more like Mark Antony and Octavius trying to become the sole leader. Luck has it for Octavius that Mark
You look lonely. I can fix that.
is a massive simp, and
He is!
he too, just like Caesar, gets seduced by Cleopatra.
Dude! Was she not insane? She's literally top fragging for all women. What is going on?
So Mark leaves for Egypt, showers her in gifts, and Octavius sees this as the perfect opportunity to depose of his rival. Look, he's only spending his time in Egypt with his e-girl. And guess what? He
I guess she could be like an E-kid. I've seen her do the little dun 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 dun.
is definitely planning to move the capital from Rome to Alexandria. We should depose of him. It was a blatant lie, but the Romans believed it. They attack Egypt, defeat the Egyptians, and the love couple takes the easy way out to avoid being humiliated in Rome. That leaves Octavius as the sole ruler. He blatantly steals the plot of the good Star Wars movies because he declares himself first citizen, or imperator, and usurps all the power to himself. Finally, by the Senate, or whatever is left.
Can you imagine being a citizen back in the day? Like, I'd just be so confused. Like, everything's always changing and I have no idea what's going on and I'm just trying to eat some bread.
Of it after a campaign of revenge and bloodshed for what a few of them did to Caesar, he is named Augustus, which means all kinds of fancy things. And since this day, in the year 27 before Christ, yes, all of this happened before the man himself even spawned in, the Roman Empire is officially born. Or wait, I mean, Empire is officially born. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Me too.
We're at the halfway point now, so best to take a short break. Do you want pizza? No, like, literally, I have $500 worth of Domino's pizza codes to give away.
The America in my brain went crazy. I love Domino's pizza and I don't care that it's trash.
Thanks to the sponsor of this video, freecash.com. Freecash is a free platform where you can earn
like a League of Legends skin. Winter Ash.
real money by playing mobile games, answering surveys, and completing simple
Wait, Disney's involved?
offers. You just pick an offer. I usually choose games because you're literally getting paid to play.
Dude, I'm trying to get a group of people to play Monopoly next week. I think it would be so fun because I love rage baiting VTubers.
You download it, play for a bit, and as soon as you hit the goals, the money shows up right here. If you sign up using my link or QR code, you will get a $10 bonus when you start your first offer. The more offers you complete, the more rewards you unlock. So it usually stacks over time. And just like you can complete tasks for cash, here's a task for you to be eligible to win free pizza. Freecash.com is giving away 10 times $50 worth of Domino's pizza, and all you gotta do to be eligible to win is sign up using the link below. And that's it. It is only...
I'm sorry, I don't click links. It's just because I see on Twitter all the time when people are like, I clicked on the link to test this game and now I lost all my accounts. I get so scared. If anybody has ever emailed me with a link, please understand I have never clicked it.
For US-based viewers though, and additionally you have 30 days from when this video goes live to enter the giveaway, and 10 days after the deadline I will announce the hungry winners with a community post. So make sure to press the bell button as well. Thanks again to freecash.com for feeding the needy and sponsoring this video. All roads lead to Rome, which is actually true, unless you live in any of these continents.
I was about to say, I don't know if I could drive my car to Rome. And think about the roaming fees on my cellular.
But why do they lead to Rome? Well, that is because Rome, in its empire phase, started to learn how to stabilize instead of endlessly expanding, like for example the Mongols used to do. That is also why their empire fell apart so quickly, while Rome managed to survive way longer. Anyway, eyes on me please, as we continue our story as we enter Rome's golden age.
Wow!
Rome has become very quickly a fully centralized empire. And
is this when they do like art and shit?
And Augustus, the first emperor, is the reason it doesn't immediately collapse again. The key thing to understand about Augustus is that he is not trying to be impressive. He is trying to be permanent. And because of that, he might be the single greatest emperor to ever exist.
Really? Is that a hot take? I don't know the rankings of the emperors.
Knows exactly why the Republic failed. It wasn't because Rome lacked laws or values or tradition. It failed because the army stopped belonging to the state and started belonging to individual men. Every civil war, from Marius to Sulla to Caesar, followed the same pattern. Soldiers fought for generals, not for Rome. So Augustus fixes that first. He took single wars.
Whoops, sorry.
Soldiers now enlist for roughly 20 years. They receive regular pay from the state, standardized equipment, and a guarantee retirement package.
And Discord Nitro!
Land grants come from the government, not from a general promising rewards if his rebellion succeeds. This one change alone removes the main fuel for a civil war. Augustus also limits how much military power any single governor can control. Provinces with large armies are separated from provinces with large wealth.
Are these not like actually pretty good ideas?
No one gets both. Generals are rotated, commands are time limited, and loyalty flows upwards, not sideways. Rome now maintains around 25 to 30 legions, roughly 150,000 professional Roman soldiers, backed by at least as many auxiliary troops, permanently stationed across the empire. This is expensive, but it gives Rome something it never really had before.
Where do they get all the money? Do they, like, print it? With the giant printer?
A standby response unit. On top of that...
Oh, taxes! Oh. Ew. I don't pay those. Legally speaking, this is a joke.
Augustus changes Roman war strategy. Instead of endless expansion, Rome now focuses on securing the borders. Spain is fully pacified after decades of resistance. The Alps are conquered to eliminate raiding routes into Italy. In the Balkans, rebellions are crushed and the Danube becomes a hardened frontier. In the east, Augustus avoids full-scale war with Parthia. He uses diplomacy and pressure to recover Roman standards lost
He just yapped?
in earlier defeats. He presents this as victory to the public, even though no major war was fought. It shows
Dude, the power of yap!
how the emperor really tries to keep the empire alive. But that doesn't mean the wars stop. Along the Rhine and Danube, Roman legions are
Well, just don't be a noob.
constantly active. Forts are built every few kilometers. Roads connect them so troops can move quickly. These regions were anything but peaceful, and because of that, it actually had soldiers living there permanently. In 9 AD, 3 Roman legions march into Germania under the general Varus. They are ambushed by
Varus? But... I was gonna make a League of Legends joke, but now there's a bunch of piggies on my screen.
Germanic forces led by Arminius, a former Roman ally trained in Roman warfare. The legions are wiped out almost completely in the Teutoburg forest. Mind you, that is 20,000 professional soldiers, dead just like that. How could a general fumble so badly? Well, let's take a look at the traitor, Arminius. Arminius knows Rome better than most Romans do. He grew up around them, served in their army, earned their trust, and learned exactly how legions move.
Oh, what is that called? Like a double agent or something? Like you know everything that's going on and then you go home and then you go and mess with them? Dude, people are so mean. Like, why can't we all just get along?
Fight and think. He knows their discipline, he knows their confidence, and most importantly, he knows their biggest weakness. Romans assume everyone wants to become Roman. But back home...
Oh, okay. So he's like the Roman hater, but they don't know because they think there's only lovers. Yeah, like entitlement.
Where Arminius is from, Germania, Roman rule doesn't feel like order, it feels more like suffocation. Roman courts replace local customs. Roman law overrides tribal authority. Taxes are imposed. Obedience is expected. What Rome calls civilization, Arminius sees as the slow erasure of everything his people are. To him, Germania isn't being conquered by the sword anymore, it's being absorbed quietly, permanently. And Arminius understands that once Rome finishes that process, resistance will be impossible. So he decides this is the moment. He doesn't rebel openly. That would fail immediately. Instead, he stays loyal on the surface to Varus.
Oh, he's a little snake. Girl.
Arminius is the perfect Roman ally. Calm, cooperative, warning him about small uprisings that supposedly need to be dealt with. He convinces Varus that Germania is already under control, that this whole operation is just going to be a routine cleanup. Varus believes him. The legions move as if they are on administrative duty, not a military campaign. They march stretched out, hauling wagons, supplies, and even civilians through terrain they don't understand. Forests close in, roads disappear, rain turns the paths into mud. This is no place for Roman formations, and Arminius knows it. Then the attacks begin. Not a battle, a slaughter. Germanic
It was guts.
Fighters strike from the forest, disappear when the Romans try to respond.
Yeah, I agree. You always got a ward. L support. They would have saw this coming.
And then strike again, harder. Because the legions are strung out for kilometers in narrow terrain, units can't form up and orders don't travel. Roman discipline still exists, but there's nothing to apply it to. Rome is used to fighting on open ground.
Bludgeoned.
One army facing another.
That's like 32 damage.
Not conga lining through the dense forest while being dismantled piece by piece, Varus hears reports of attacks but doesn't react decisively. He hesitates, assuming it's just minor banditry causing delays. He keeps pushing forward, believing the situation can still be managed.
No, this is Elcoms. Come on, just get on the mic.
But it can't. Over several days, the army collapses. Units are isolated. Officers are killed. By the time Varus realizes this isn't unrest, but a
Was that Markiplier?
full betrayal, there is no army left to save. More than 20,000 career soldiers are dead because of his blindness. Varus takes his own life rather than return to Rome as the man who lost 3 legions without ever fighting a proper battle. The Germanic tribes,
He's Sudoku'd.
Rome's barbarians, slip out of Roman control, thanks almost entirely to Arminius. The legions number 17, 18, and 19
They better give that guy a house and like 5 wives. What the hell?
are never used again, forever locked away with Rome's unresolved traumas. More importantly, because of this, Roman policy changes permanently. Augustus abandons the idea of conquering Germania. The Rhine becomes the frontier. Rome stops pushing outward and commits fully to defense. This decision defines the empire's borders for centuries. It was time for solidifying ground and making sure no silly little man would start a world religion. Spoilers. When Augustus dies in 14 AD, he leaves behind something unprecedented. A Roman state that is stable, defensible, and no longer tearing itself apart. His actions single-handedly were the foundation of the Golden Age. Now, before we continue with emperors and wars, it's worth stopping for a moment and looking at what living in the peak of Rome's golden era.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Like, what do they eat? Bread? And what do they drink? Wine? And what do they do for fun? Gamba?
Was really like. For the average Roman citizen living inside the empire, especially in Italy or a major province, life is structured in a way that is rare for the ancient world. Cities have paved roads, stone buildings, aqueducts,
This is pretty nice. Like, is this when they do the group shitting too?
public baths, markets, courts, and written laws. Grain distributions keep large populations fed. Trade moves freely across thousands of kilometers. Most people
Wow.
are not wealthy, many live modestly, and slavery is widespread and brutal. But there is stability. If you are inside the empire, you live within a system that absorbs shocks. Famine, crime, and violence exist, but there is an administration to respond to them. Now, compare...
Okay, so at least they kind of got guards or like something. Like, at least I guess they're trying. I don't know. Like, I think any spawn probably in this time period sucked.
all of that to the average person outside of the empire, often labeled a barbarian by Roman
I know that from Civ!
writers. Most of these societies are rural and decentralized. Political authority depends on the person. There are no standing armies, no long-distance
So what are they doing? Sitting?
infrastructure networks, no permanent bureaucracies. Life is harder.
A reminder that green goods at the time were healthier since storage conditions allowed them to be partially sprout, or they were properly fermented when making bread, unlike today. Ah, interesting. When did they get chicken tenders and mac and cheese?
But more flexible. Taxes are lower, but protection is limited. When something goes terribly wrong, there are no larger systems to intervene. This contrast matters, because for centuries, Rome doesn't just defeat and fight these peoples, it also attracts them. Roman service offers pay, Roman cities offer security, Roman citizenship offers legal rights. Many people outside of the empire don't want to destroy Rome, they want access to what it provides. And that will matter later. For now, it's time for the next emperor to take power. Spin the wheel of misfortune!
Oh,
Wait, good? Oh, this thing is definitely rigged.
Oh, it's broken? Is this the Stardew Valley spinner? Does it have a really high odd to hit one thing instead of the other?
Meet the adopted son of Augustus, Emperor Tiberius.
Oh! Wait, see, all these names sound familiar, but I don't know what they do. I just know the names.
He's a capable guy, an experienced guy, but most interestingly, an extremely introverted guy who is deeply suspicious of literally everyone and hates being in public.
Oh, so he's like scared of everything all the time, which is probably not somebody you want ruling. Yeah, his XP was slow. You're so wrong for that.
From the day he took the role as emperor, which he essentially got forced into by Augustus, he didn't do anything too radical. He simply kept himself secluded, to the point he abandons living in Rome and moves to the island of Capri, where he reigned the empire from there. That was a little bit of a mistake, since there was no one in Rome anymore to enforce orders directly, though it did come in handy for the Praetorian Guard, who were originally created by Augustus as an elite protective unit. These soldiers are heavily armed, permanently stationed in Rome.
With bazookas? Oh, hell no, they got the holy hand grenade too. And don't even get me started about the super sheep.
And loyal not to the state, but to the emperor personally. Problem is, with Emperor Tiberius living on an island, the Praetorian Guard commander becomes one of the most powerful men in the city. He controls access to the emperor, filters information, and increasingly influences decisions. Behind the curtains of Rome, power is no longer flowing through institutions, and the Senate is always seen as a joke. The never-ending corruption has begun. Meanwhile, in the far province of Judea, a local religious figure named Jesus of Nazareth
I know
is
that
arrested
guy.
by local
Not personally. I mean, I don't know.
authorities and handed over to the Roman administration. He's executed for causing unrest and refusing to acknowledge Roman authority in the way expected of him.
I've never
The
seen him drawn
execution
like
is
that.
routine, and crucifixion is standard Roman punishment. As far as the empire is concerned, this all is a minor provincial matter, barely even worth
Why were you surprised? Because he was like a little cheapy Jesus.
recording, and Rome moves on. When Emperor Tiberius eventually dies in 37 AD, the balance of power inside Rome was already distorted.
How many people died of banana peels every single year? 0.
The Praetorian Guard actively starts playing a key role in ensuring the next emperor supports their wishes and desires. They choose Caligula, a great-grandson of Emperor Augustus.
Wait, I know that guy too. Why do I think he does incest? Did I make that up? Or is he like the incest goat? Oh, he did. Okay. Projecting? What do you mean projecting?
At first, he does what they expect him to do, but a long story short, because I don't want to cover all, 90 emperors Rome had in full detail, Emperor Caligula gets a bit too cocky.
That's the guy who died when the horse eats and gets drunk?
So, the Praetorian Guard simply killed the emperor.
Oh! Who's the guy who died with the drunk guy, the drunk animal? That was Catherine the Great? See, I remember somebody doing that. No, that was not Bon Jovi or Mr. Hands. And it was a drunk donkey, thank you.
And on the spot, immediately select a replacement themselves. They find Caligula's uncle, Claudius, and declare him the new emperor. Needless to say, Rome has now crossed yet another line. The emperor is no longer chosen by tradition, legitimacy, or public consensus. He is chosen by the soldiers standing closest to him.
Oh my
Emperor
God.
Claudius turns out to be more competent than expected, since he expands the empire, strengthens administration, and keeps the system functioning. But the
So, like, if you're clouded up, you just get to be the emperor? Or, like, if you know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy?
precedent remains. Everyone now understands that the Praetorian Guard is not just a protective force, it's the ruling force. After Claudius, power passes to Augustus's great-great-grandson, Nero. Nero is
That's not the guy from Devil May Cry, is it?
obsessed with personal image and is careless about his power. He's basically the complete opposite of the legendary first emperor. He caused rebellions, a financial collapse, and half of Rome burned down during his reign. The
Does anything good ever happen again? Can we get some good RNG?
Senate and the army lose confidence in him, and those who actually matter if they support you or not, the Praetorian Guard, ended up also giving up their support. Which basically means your time is up. Nero flees Rome, and as it's clear he's going to get arrested and executed, he takes his own life.
Oh, well, he was Nero the end anyway.
And with Nero's passing in the year 68, we not only end the Julius Caesar dynasty reign, but also end in the very chaotic year of 69. Very nice. Also known as the year of the 4 emperors. 4 men claim and sit on the throne in a single year. Not because they are great leaders, but because different armies across the empire back different candidates. One emperor gets murdered, another one gets overthrown, another rules for a few months. Civil war breaks out across the entire empire.
Dude, being picked to be the guy in charge is like the worst thing you're ever gonna hear in your life. Like, can I just, I don't know, double it and give it to the next guy?
Legions that were supposed to defend borders are now actively marching on each other. Eventually, one man wins, Vespasian. Not because he is charismatic, not because he is loved, but because he has the strongest army. He restores order, mostly by force, and hands the empire to his sons afterwards. So yay, Rome survives. But now everyone yet again knows the truth about emperor legitimacy. Because if you control the army, you control Rome, no matter how bad of a leader you are. Naturally, for the next century, emperors rise and drop dead like flies every other week. It is extremely chaotic, and not that interesting because it just comes down to this emperor bad. He gets killed. This emperor a bit better, but the Praetorian Guard don't like him, so he is also killed, etc.
What are you supposed to do? Walk around in armor all of the time? Or maybe one of those giant little bubble balls that people like bash into each other?
Etc, etc, etc. So just to summarize the next century, here are a couple highlights. In the year 117, under Emperor Trajan, the Roman Empire reaches its historical peak, with the capture of what is nowadays Romania, Jordan and Armenia. In 193 AD, the Praetorian Guard, who are yes still in power even 200 years later, literally sell the title of emperor to the highest bidder.
What? Dude, and right after I'm done being a VTuber because something horrible happens to me, I don't know, eventually it happens to everybody, I'm gonna be an auctioneer. I think I could speak fast enough. Like, I could do this.
Emperor Julianus ended up reigning for just 66 days until he got executed in the palace by another general, aka the next emperor. And in the beginning of the 3rd century, Christianity started to spread like crazy. And that was annoying for the Roman elite. Christians refused to worship Roman gods and instead worshipped, well, the Christian god. But that wasn't the only crisis they faced. The whole 3rd century was hell for the Roman Empire.
Really?
Emperors went from...
Dude, this has literally just been, we're so not back, we're so not back, we're so not back, we're so not back for like ever. When do they get a win?
Switching monthly to weekly, and most die violently. The empire nearly fractures into separate states. Germanic invasions hit the west, while Persian armies press from the east. Meanwhile, massive plagues tear through cities, and hyperinflation destroys the economy. Sounds like 2020 all over again. I can't make it clear enough. It was a chaotic mess. And eventually, one emperor accepts the obvious. The empire is just too big, too unstable, too...
Yeah, way bigger than average. Okay, we already know that. Okay, so what do you do when something's way bigger than average? Let's see.
Complex to be ruled the old way. So he makes a radical change. He chops
Olympics!
the empire into pieces. He creates the Tetrarchy, the rule of 4. 2 senior emperors, 2 juniors. And on top of that, emperors now live in border cities to be close to the action. And Rome literally gets abandoned just like that.
Really?
It's still there, but the power of the empire is now at the front, among 4 of them. After that genius emperor retires to grow cabbages, yes, he really
My cabbages!
did, the rule of 4 turns into a battle royale. Who would have guessed?
Who's dropping tilted?
The winner is Constantine. He somehow reunites the empire, but he doesn't move back into the old Roman office. He's seen the future, and the future was in the east. In 330 AD, he builds Constantinople. It's
Is this the Fertile Crescent? Or did I make that up?
built on a massive choke point between Europe and Asia. It's richer than Rome, easier
When was the Fertile Crescent? That was way earlier? Dude. At least I knew what that was. I mean, I didn't know exactly what it was, but at least I knew it existed. That's a W for me.
to defend, and crucially, it's built
Wait, is this with the big guy who like attacks everybody? Was this the Alexander guy? Did I make that up too?
As a Christian city. No more old school pagan garbage. Christianity is now
No, that's Godzilla. I don't think Godzilla is dropping anytime soon.
the legalized new cool thing. Though the empire is whole, in reality the split into east and west had already settled in. All the rich and intellectual people followed the emperor to the Greek-speaking world, while in Rome the Latin-speaking folks were left behind as a ghost province. And I know this is a bit of a hot take, but at this point the Byzantine Empire is real. Some people like to call it the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Empire, but that's lame. They don't even speak Latin like the Westerners, or live
Yeah, let's get down to Byzantine-ness.
anywhere close to Rome, you know, the Roman Empire. The Eastern Roman part of the empire at this point in history
Just give me the -2, man. This is the first time I've gotten a ... and that felt significantly worse.
evolved in the Byzantine Empire. And that is a hill I'm willing to die on. You can sue me in the comment section. Anyway, if you don't think that is when the Byzantine Empire started, this moment might have. Because the split between East and West became finalized when an emperor who died in 395 AD split his empire between his two sons. Classic mistake. And both administrations immediately ceased working together. Rome is officially no longer Rome. By the early 5th century, the non-Byzantine, aka Western Roman Empire, is laughably weak and often ruled by foreign kings. It was time to put it out of
This really is the Fortnite Battle Pass. Miku, I love you!
its misery. It was time for the final blow. And yeah, if you're watching this video with your political uncle who has no filter, you might want to click off now, because
What? Is my uncle here? Where are you? I don't think so.
he is most likely going to quote what happens now each Thanksgiving dinner till there is no tomorrow. You ready? The blow that ended the Roman Empire once and for all was
Miku?
uncontrolled immigration.
Oh my god!
Introducing the last villains for today, the Huns. They exploded out of the Eurasian steppe in the late 4th century, and they were so dangerous that they single-handedly caused mass migrations towards Europe.
What?
When the Huns smash into the Goths north of the Danube, the
The Goths are real? Wait, I know Duggoth.
Goths very intellectually decide to not stand still and die, so they run. And where do they run? Across the Roman border. Tens of thousands of Goths show up at the Danube asking
Oh my god! And what, they were blasting music? I don't know.
for asylum. Rome lets them in. On paper, this is manageable, but in reality, corrupt Roman officials starve and exploit them so badly that the Goths revolt. As a direct result, 2 years later, a Roman army is destroyed and the emperor is killed on the battlefield by the hands of them. That moment is important because after the events of Adrianople, everyone learned something Rome never wanted to teach. If you bring a whole nation into your borders and you can't control them, you are not integrating them, you are just importing your future civil war. So the Western Roman Empire starts doing what it will keep doing until it dies. Making deals with armed groups it can't defeat. Here's some land, please just stop burning us. It calms them for a bit, but greed can never be satisfied. And no, it doesn't stop with the Goths. Once
Can we just have love and peace? And like, maybe a high internet connection?
the border breaks psychologically, the chain reaction begins. More groups move. Some are fleeing the Huns, some are just following opportunity. The Vandals go on a rampage across the west and eventually take North Africa, which is catastrophic. Because North Africa is where the West gets grain and money. Lose Africa, lose Texas. Lose Texas, lose soldiers. Lose soldiers, yeah, good luck.
I think I know. War. War never changes. I tried to sound badass, but I just can't sound badass.
In 410, the Visigoths return from last video and sack Rome. Not because Rome is militarily important, but because it's really funny. Then once the Huns are defeated, Rome the city gets sacked again in 455
Oh my god, get your grippers off my Rome!
Why not?
Barry, when was your goth or emo phase? I did have an emo phase. I wanted to be seen, but my mom told me I wasn't allowed to dye and cut my hair like that because it looked weird. But I did like go into Hot Topic when I was a kid.
And by 476, when the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, who has literally the most ironic name for this moment, since he is both named Romulus, the name of the founder of Rome, and Augustulus, named after the first emperor. Anyway, yeah, he basically got politely asked by his Germanic commander to stop being emperor, and then the Roman Empire is dead. Yeah, sorry guys, no epic final battle or anything, just emperor fatigue. Now, to be realistic about the Eastern and Western Roman divide, the term Byzantine is made up by modern historians. So if you asked everyone back then if the Roman Empire is really dead, they would...
Wait, I don't want to be some guy.
So if you asked everyone back then if the...
Okay, let me go back where I was. Sorry about that. Sorry, I want to do a little silly. Oh!
Roman Empire is really dead, they would probably say, no dumbass, it's right there. But this video is long enough already and my pizza is getting cold. If you really want to know what happened to them, the Eastern Roman Byzantines survived for a whopping 1,000 additional years and fought like crazy to survive. They slowly lost more and more territory to Persians, Arabs, Crusaders, and finally to the first.
Somebody in chat, I think it was Farbooty, kept saying they invented Sabaro. Well, I didn't see that.
Some Ottomans, till only the city of Constantinople remained. In 1453, the city falls, gets turned from Christian to Muslim, and with it, the last state that still calls itself Roman fell. Yes, I just skipped 1,000 years of interesting things, but I will make a Byzantine Empire video one day to explain it all in more detail.
Okay.
So, subscribe, become a member, and don't forget that if you want pizza and make money by doing simple tasks, to check out the link in the description.
Thank
I
you
really
for the
hope
link.
you enjoyed the long video. And
that was cool. I feel like I learned a lot. I love history videos, and I like watching them with you guys. I don't know. I think history's fun. I like leveling up my knowledge.
we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it. If you're new here, I'm sorry. I just keep thinking of this little guy. Have a great evening. Come by the Twitch page for BerryCrepe and use code Berry for 10% off your gamer subs order. It super helps me out. I really appreciate it. Have a good evening. Goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.